Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mitt podcast, episode number 154. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about how we are sent the right people, circumstances, challenge, betrayal, problems that are perfectly sent to help us elevate and become who we want to become. And this lesson I've learned over the last 10 years, and it's changed the way I've looked at everything. And I truly believe it's going to do the same for you as well. And just before we get started, if you're a long-time listener, you love this podcast, make sure to subscribe, like, comment below every time you do podcast out to help more people. And if you're new, welcome. In this podcast, we help people grow their business, change the way they view the world, and really just elevate in every level. So the first thing that we want to discuss in terms of this subject is we all want certain things out of life. Maybe you want to get a promotion at work. Maybe you want to scale the business to a record sales. Maybe you want to meet your husband, your wife, meet a new network. And so let's think about what happens when we want these things. Maybe we pray, maybe we have that desire. But what is the next thing that typically happens? So let's think about this. You pray for God to send you this amazing network of incredible people who think like you, who, let's say, are entrepreneurial, that are successful, that aren't judgmental, that support you, all these things. You pray for those things. But then suddenly, you had plans to go, do something, go to the movies, go get drinks with your friends. Like, let's say, this Friday. But suddenly, they cancel. Or you were talking to this girl or guy or whatever, and everything's going good, and then suddenly they disappear. And you're sitting there thinking, like, what the heck? These people are rude, or why did they do that? Or they're such horrible people. They don't care about me. And you get kind of upset in your feelings. But if you pause and sit there and think for a second, just 3 days prior, we just prayed and wished for these incredible people coming into our lives that align with who you want to become. But this is what happened. The prayer is starting to be fulfilled. Those bad people are the wrong people. Maybe they're good people, but they just aren't a good fit for you. Suddenly start disappearing because, let's see, if you're listening right now, you're raising your vibration. The other people are staying the same. They didn't change, you did. Now, it doesn't necessarily make it fair, and it's not fun to get plans canceled on you or someone to betray you or do something bad to you. But you are now ascending to another level in life. So how are you supposed to meet these amazing people that you prayed for, that you hope for, or get that business to the record level, or meet your dream husband or wife, or whatever you want, without first cleansing yourself of the negativity that you have in yourself or you have around you? Let's say you walked into the nicest restaurant or private club or hotel, and you're this amazing star of a person, but you're with all these people that are negative, that have excuses, that have low energy, and you're walking in with them. How is everyone in that room going to view you? Are they going to say, wow, that's a super talented person with all those people that they don't want to be around? No, they're going to look at all of you guys the same. And unfortunately, those people that you're around, it's going to rub off on you no matter how great you are. And that's why a lot of times, a good example or metaphor of this is, have you ever gone on vacation and you sit at this great resort or you went to this great location and for those 3 to 10 days or however long you were gone, you were thinking about, man, what if this was my normal life? What if I could just do this because I wanted to on a random Tuesday? And you started thinking different. You started becoming more creative. You started strategizing how you could do this. But after a while, when you got back in routine, you eventually got back to the status quo. You stressed about certain things. You complained about certain things. And then you have that moment where you're like, whoa, I want more. And that's where these prayers happen. And that's when we have now the ability to choose to eliminate the reactive behavior that will continue the same cycle of us staying at the same level. And that's the challenge we face. So let's kind of backtrack this. Step 1, set your desire, pray for. 2, remove and cleanse the negative people and environments that are holding you back from becoming who you want to be. When that happens, you're going to have a knee-jerk reaction to want to grab quick energy. You're going to want to say, well, no, let's do next week on Tuesday, or let's do this. Or you're going to try to convince someone who you know you shouldn't date, or you know you shouldn't keep within your company. You need to fire them. But you just need them to do this one thing. And instead of you elevating and getting everything great that comes with that new level in life, the fear of lack causes us to be needy in that moment, have reactive behavior, and continue the never-ending cycle. So here's the hack. When those people or those things pull away from you, you're going to feel the emotion because we're all human, but I want you to just pause and say, this is good for me. I'm lacking nothing. I have everything I need in this moment. And if you need to, go take a walk, go get a coffee, go get a quick workout, stop working for 10 minutes. Heck, if you want to stop working for an hour, great. And recenter yourself and refocus on what you are hoping and praying for, who you want to become. And then pull from that energy by going, what would that version of myself do in this moment? Would it care that people that don't align with them or you don't want to be like, don't want to hang out with you? In fact, your future self would go, of course they don't want to hang out with me. That doesn't even make sense. Why would I want to hang out with them? You wish them well. You don't hate on them. Send them love. But instead, choose to not be reactive and do what your future self would do. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. And like I said, you're human. So you may feel worry. You may feel insecurity. But this is what's so great. When you're disciplined and you know truly what you want in life, you don't have to operate from a place of lack. You are still a human, so it's okay. We're all going to feel, those emotions. But if you do the things that your future self would do, before you know it, you'll persist past that little small problem or that moment of lack or moment of worry, and you'll elevate. Now, in step 3, what's going to start happening is you're going to start noticing what's called synchronicities, things that align with that new version of yourself. And to my experience, sometimes it could be a big miracle. It can happen. But a lot of times, it's something small. For me, it was when I was with friends, or when I was without, or I was working and I was grabbing lunch, I started noticing people treating me differently. There's someone I consult for. She runs a sales and marketing company, and we're trying to get her to the next level. And she was like, Grant, even I was at the airport, and they were like, let me upgrade you to first class. Let me give you this. Let me give you this for free. And she wasn't even trying. She said, Grant, I wasn't even dressed nice, and these people were just treating me amazing. And I was like, that's a good sign. Okay, when you start noticing those things, I want you to celebrate and have certainty and view it as a ginormous billboard that says, you're doing the right things, don't stop. Don't go back to reactive behavior. Don't go back to your old self. Respect what you've been through in the journey and still send love to these past people and past experiences, but keep going, right? And this is when your disciplined actions matter more than everything. Okay, in football, they have a phrase, let the play develop. Or I played quarterback in high school and college. It says, stay in the pocket. Let the play develop. See the field. Okay, timing is everything in life. And if you're ready and you're waiting, bam, your moment comes, you can strike. We have that ability. Okay? So let's talk about this. Next is we get to choose how long we want to suffer. I used to have this limiting belief that you have to go through all of these stressful times and problems for years and years or even decades to then eventually reach this promised land. You sometimes do, and if you don't want to have problems, it's simple. You just have no desires and you won't have problems. It's true. But we can choose how long we want to suffer by choosing how long we want to continue to have reactive behavior and choose to not evolve. It's like the cycle with an ex-girlfriend or boyfriend, right? You break up. You know that they're not for you. That first week to 3 weeks, You're on a high. You're like, man, this is amazing. There's all these beautiful women around. There's all these great guys. There's always whatever, right? And then suddenly you have one bad date, or you have a long day. You feel lonely. You have a moment of weakness. Suddenly, like magic, your ex stops everything they're doing. They go to T-Mobile or Boost Mobile. They get their phone fixed and they text you. And they ask to hang out. And it's quick energy you could grab. Okay, this is a test. Do you want to stay down here or do you want to go to here? And everyone's had an ex, so you can relate to this, right? And you can apply this to business as well. If you say no or don't reply, your energy, your soul immediately elevates. And what usually is on the other side of that is a girl or guy that you suddenly meet at a restaurant, wherever, or out with your friends, or that suddenly comes back into your life, or maybe no one, and then maybe 6 months down the line it happens. But that would have never happened if you continued the same cycle with your ex. Same thing for business. You keep doing the bad habits that keep putting you in a bad place, you'll continue to stay at that level. But if you solve the problem for good instead of a Band-Aid, your company and your team will elevate to new heights. It's our choice. So you can suffer and stay at the same level with your ex or people like your ex for the next 30 years, or you can stop trying to grab quick energy. You can elevate, be poised, and be proactive, and then get the right person at the right time. It's all of our decisions. And we do this not only from removing reactive behavior, but by also eliminating limited beliefs. I was just telling this to someone. I said, I think I have limited beliefs for being a billionaire. And that if I want to become a billionaire, I have to change my beliefs, because I was meditating and I was sitting there thinking about, being a multi-billionaire. And then I felt like a little discomfort in my gut that I usually don't feel. And it made me realize that I wasn't comfortable around that much money. So how could I attract it? So I rewrote all these affirmations that made me feel comfortable. And then I ended up telling her this story that when I was 18, like everyone else, I saw all the motivational stuff. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to a Lamborghini or Ferrari store in Beverly Hills when I lived in California. So me and my friends, we got in a car, we drove like 40, 50 minutes, and we put on our best fits, and we just acted like we were going to, we didn't waste our time, but we just walked in and looked. And I remember feeling so nervous and uncomfortable. It felt like I was an alien. And why was that the case? I wasn't comfortable. I thought having a Ferrari or a Mercedes and all these nice things were so far out that it made me literally uncomfortable being there. And the people that worked there didn't even care about us. They were kind of rude. And then fast forward, I think it was about 6 to 7 years later, I was in the middle of buying a really nice car and I was debating what to get. And I was looking at Ferraris, I was looking at Lamborghinis, I was looking at super nice Mercedes. It was a really nice Saturday. I was living in Austin at the time. It was great weather. It was in the 50s, cool, sunny. And I literally had sweats and a hoodie on. I said, you know what? I'm going to go look at some Ferraris. I haven't been to the Ferrari Austin. I'm like, let's go. And I walked in and I was like, yeah, I'm interested in looking at a couple Ferraris. They came out. I started asking all these questions. I said, which ones do you have available? What's the wait time? What's the maintenance? Do people pay cash? Do they finance? Like, what do people mostly do? I'm debating on cash and debating on maybe money down this. Like, what do people usually do? How does a Ferrari work? I'm dressed like, as a person that shouldn't be successful. And they treated me like gold. They spent like 45 minutes going through everything. I learned everything I could ever imagine about Ferraris. If any of you guys buy a Ferrari or need help, tell me. And but then I thought about this when I was talking about this story about feeling comfortable and eliminating those limiting beliefs. I didn't walk into the Ferrari dealership at, let's say at that time it was like 25 maybe 26. I wasn't there to prove anyone. I was there to potentially buy a Ferrari. They didn't have the model I wanted, so I realized it was during COVID when you couldn't get anything. But I wasn't there to seek approval. I could care less what they thought about me. Like, zero care. I was just genuinely curious. And even though I was dressed casual, I was treated like gold. Why? because I did not have a limiting belief. I became the person who could afford a Ferrari. And so when we enter the room, the interview, the meeting, the date, you see friends, you're networking, or you're just out and about. If you're whole, you don't need anything, and you're not seeking the approval of others, you don't have limiting beliefs, you're going to be treated like gold, guys. And these negative people, I'm telling you, they won't even be in your reality. You won't even see them because you're so high up here that if they want to, they would have to scream and yell with a giant speaker to get your attention because they just can't reach you. You can go down there to where they're at if you want to with reactive behavior, or you can soar the eagles instead of the chickens. You can go to the top and just live up there. It is our decision. It is our decision. Okay, the last thing I want to leave you with as a simple thing to think about is if you are truly talented and capable, you have a lot of energy. You have to remove those leaks, like we said, by removing reactive behavior. But most importantly, you have to know very, very clearly what you want. Not generally, I would love to travel and I want. No. Like, I want to make this much. This is what my wife or husband looks like. This is what my network. This is where I live. This is what I do. This is who I am. This is who I have to become. And be so clear about it that when a person, when a problem, when a circumstance comes and enters your life, you simply look at it and you go, does this align with who I'm becoming and my goals? If the answer is yes, let it come. If the answer is no, disdain it, ignore it, and remove it from your life. And then continue. And if you have the strength and most importantly, the self-esteem to say no, not to explain yourself, just be like, no, thank you. No, I'm fine. If you truly have that, you know what you want, and you, in a disciplined way, do the things that we're all supposed to do to become who we want to become, it is inevitable. Everyone else will quit. I'm telling you, everyone else will quit. And you will become that person. So when you walk in a metaphor, the Ferrari dealership, when you walk in that big time meeting to close this massive deal that changes your life, you won't be there trying to seek approval. You'll be there to close the damn deal because that's who you're supposed to be. So I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. If you guys did, make sure to hit the like button and comment below, subscribe to the channel. And if you guys are a service-based business owner that is looking to scale, bring on 5 CEOs per month. If you're interested in working with me, hit the link below, grantmittconsulting.com, and we'll see if it's fit. As always, I'm rooting for you guys, and I'll see you guys again for episode 155. Much love. Have an incredible week.